Coming to you live from San Francisco, California. It's time for Ralph, Zig, Tycho, and Zig in the zone.
Your problem is your mic isn't on. My problem is it is on, and people have to listen to my voice. And but I'm doing okay because Paulie B is in the house,
In the house.
and Bernie Rose is on the internet.
Yeah.
Boynton Beach, Florida. We go back 70 years, Bon?
Easily, yeah.
Easily. I've referred to the time I heard you play some of your first notes on the keyboard. What year was that? When did you start doing that?
Oh, that probably would have been about 57, 58,
Okay.
58.
Maybe
1958, if anybody doesn't know what that is.
Right. Art 58 were Bon, you got to congratulate me, the Met fan, and I'm holding up my shirt. They made the playoffs. Would have you believed that the New York Mets would be in the playoffs, say the first month of the season?
No. They, I don't even remember how that first month went, but I can say that after there was a point where they just were losing like crazy.
Right. And there was a point too later on where they were winning like crazy.
Right. And then they started losing again.
Yeah. But they won the big game. I don't know if it matters to you from here on out, being a Dodger fan, you're rooting for the Dodgers.
Well, that would be true.
What's your prognosis on how they're going to do in the playoffs?
It's a crapshoot. The National League is very competitive. I mean, extremely competitive. If they would have had their full starting pitching staff, I'd probably like them more. But I think, truthfully, they still got a real good shot to go all the way.
Yeah. I'm happy for you in that respect. And I know that deep down you're happy for the Mets.
Absolutely.
Being a New Yorker, when they moved, I guess you don't remember when the Giants and Dodgers moved.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I was 7. I was 7.
Old enough to have it be a memory, especially that winter when Campy was not killed, thank God, but
paralyzed. Yeah, paralyzed.
In that accident, it was the winter they moved, and I was 12, and my life and the world was changing for a 12-year-old. One can see at age 12 what's going on, and it was a major disappointment losing the Giants and with them the Dodgers, because without the Dodgers there would be they wouldn't have that giant Dodger competition that made the golden age of baseball so special.
Sure.
So, and losing them both like that is a mind fuck.
Well, a lot of people still hate the Dodgers because of that. And I guess they initiated the whole thing. So you have them to blame that the Giants also left town.
Well, no, because the Giants had to go regardless of the Dodgers situation. They were being treated by New York City, Mayor Wagner and what have you. They wouldn't put any money into the raiding Polo Grounds,
Right,
and the
right.
neighborhood was changing up in Harlem, and it was they were gonna go. The thing is, they went to Minneapolis, and then Stoneham talked them out of it and said go to San Francisco. And you know what? An interesting side note: the Giants played at Candlestick Park after the first 2 years at Seal Stadium, and they built that park and they put in heaters under the seats, and they never from day one worked, and it was frigid and windy at Candlestick, and it took like 40 years before the deal of them moving to San Francisco became a good move financially. They had to get another ballpark, and then they had their streak, and Buster Posey, off the top of my head, was named president of the San Francisco Giants.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. So I can't get the Dodgers Giants out of my mind all these many years. Baseball's it's just everything. It's been that way for you follow the game, and you if they said Fernando Valenzuela was very ill at the moment.
Yeah, I'm hearing something about that.
But you would be able to have memories of when he got called up and how exciting it was.
Oh, it was incredible
for the Dodgers. Yeah, I saw pictures of him. He looks like skin and bones. He looks like me.
Wow, and Fernando was a big boy.
Yes, he was.
He was a big boy. I remember him up on the mound.
I hope he's going to be all right. But that Met game yesterday,
and you said, when I said that was the most exciting game I've ever seen, and you said, well, there's all the World Series. No, to get into the playoffs, and especially what it meant to you and I personally, to have Mert pleased by them making it. And the game itself, they were 3 runs down in the 8th inning, and then they got it back, and then they lost it.
It was an incredible game.
Incredible game.
Absolutely. I watched it from beginning to end, and that's the first Met game this year I watched from beginning to end.
Well, I didn't get to watch it, but I heard Howie Rose do it on the radio. On MLB has a thing where we can get every game home and away on the radio. And
right.
$20, best $20 Allie ever spent.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
I'll pay you back for the 20, Tally. Just have patience. I'm an old guy. I move slowly. So it was a great game, and the Mets made the playoff. I really, whether they go any further in the playoffs, I'm satisfied. That was just making it. Like, I take it back to 1973 when the Mets won the pennant and lost the World Series, which was Game 6 was the only World Series game I'd ever seen in person. And they lost, and I came out of there a grown man with tears in my eyes. I knew they were going to lose the next game, and I had a ticket for a guy I was recruiting. I had an insurance agency at that time in Danville, California, and all I remember about the guy that I was recruiting, 2 things I remember. First of all, when we'd have him over for dinner or whatever, and he talked to his wife. He said, "That's the wine talking, Lamont."
Yeah.
I'll never forget that expression. That's the wine talking. And then we're coming out of Oakland Coliseum, and I'm stunned by the loss. I knew they'd lose in the seventh game. I just knew it. And
Well, I
yeah,
get that. I mean, I remember watching that series.
yeah,
Um, they only finished 3 games over 500 that year,
I know that was the miracle. That
and somehow they beat Cincinnati in the playoffs, and Oakland was going for 3 in a row, or
yeah,
no, that was only the second. I guess the next year was 3 in a row, but still, Oakland was the defending champions,
yeah.
and you
Oh, it
had to
sucks. And
figure.
he goes, quote him, "It's only a game. What's the matter?" We went to a baseball game. As far as I'm concerned, he might have been bored at the game. But he said that, and that's the last words I remember speaking to him for the rest of my life. I mean, I was just devastated by that game. I would have been devastated in the same way if the Mets hadn't won that fight yesterday to get in the playoffs. So I'm like a perpetual little boy, 78
Oh, that
years old.
was just so exciting.
Yeah,
I,
it was, but a lot of people were our age, or no, we've always been this way, and there are a lot of people who can identify with it. Uh, sure, Peter Trunk was delighted, not so much as um, me, but as much as you. He's a Dodger fan
right.
as well. Um, you put it all into perspective, and there's only one thing I want to clear up with you. When I said that we jokingly over the wire a week or two ago said Lindor for MVP, and then he got hurt right there.
Yeah, yeah.
But right, but it's a subjective award, not an objective award. Like you win the Triple Crown, which Almonte just missed winning for the first time since another Dodger, um, Ducky Medworth or whoever it
Medwick.
was. Yeah, Medworth. Right, I blanked on that. But what Lindor meant to the Mets was incredibly intangible if you
Oh,
take it
please.
off the field. He's the one that fired them up in a clubhouse meeting when they were going so badly that we thought it was curtains, and it's early in the season, and he brought us back from that, and he had a damn good year. Not
Turned
O'Hara.
it up. He had a great year.
Yeah,
They were talking about him on TV today, this morning. That I mean, he should be in the conversation.
yeah.
Unfortunately for him, Otani just got hotter and hotter as the end of the season came. I mean, he ended up being player of the month for September. He ended up being player of the week for the last week. I mean, he got
50
his
50
50
50 club.
He went crazy.
Yeah.
I was at that game.
Really?
That 50-50 game. Whoa. And even in Miami, they were going crazy. And it was so exciting. He
Wow.
stole his 50th base, and then he stole his 51st base in the same game. And then he hit 2 home runs. He ended up hitting 3, but the second one was the 50th. And
The
it
ball,
seemed like
you should have caught that ball because they
that's a whole
350.
story in itself. The guy who caught it, that somebody pinned him down and took the ball away from him.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they gave him $350,000.
Not the guy that got pinned down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
So wait, so hold on. Where did that ball go? Into the bleachers?
Yeah, went into the outfield.
I understand. I thought that the
Somebody wrestled
authorities.
them, but they
No, the
usually
guy who grabbed the ball first, there was a big rush, and some guy pinned his arms down and stole the ball from him.
Oh, fuck.
And he says he's going to sue. That's the last I heard. I don't really know what's
if
happening.
it was caught on tape, if it was caught on film,
I
if
would
security
assume-
saw it, they should have stopped him, right?
Yeah, but if you sue a guy at a ball game for a guy who would tackle somebody else, how much money is he going to have to pay that suit if he loses?
He's
He'd go
probably not
bankrupt.
going to be able to do it. Who
Right.
knows?
Well,
But
hopefully part of the suit is that the judge would make him give back the ball and pay some sort of damages for the assault that he incurred.
Yeah,
Incurred?
right. But how you
Inquiring
gonna
minds want to know.
yeah. Well, anyway, that was just an exciting game. But for Otani, I mean, it was great. 15,000 people. It sounded like 40. But they don't get a whole lot of people down in Miami, especially for a 440 getaway game. But I'm glad that's the game I chose to go. It was really incredibly exciting. But to get back to Lindor, he had a great year, fantastic year. You remember the year Gibson won the MVP for the Dodgers?
I think it was 83.
It was 88 when they won the World Series.
Oh, okay.
It was 88. And he was hurt a lot of the year.
Oh,
As a matter of
that's the
fact,
time he pinch hit.
yeah, in the first game and won the game.
Right.
And the whole thing is that he was hurt a lot during the year, too. He didn't have 100 RBIs. I think he only had 78. He didn't play the full year, but he meant so much to the Dodgers. I hate to say it, but Strawberry had all the stats that year. The MVP, you would have thought, would have been his, but
right. He didn't
But they
have
gave
the
it to
best of
Gibson.
reps either.
because
So-
of what he meant to that Dodger team that year. Lindor, if Otani didn't have such a phenomenal year, I think Lindor would probably get it.
Yeah. So we're at peace over that one, but the way we bantered back and forth, glad we could put it on tape that
Absolutely.
we both agree. O'Hanty he could be the next Babe Ruth, and he already is on some level. The next
Yeah.
Babe Ruth,
He's had some great pitching seasons with the Angels.
right?
It's his batting, I guess, is why he won the MVP for both of them. Too bad he couldn't pitch this year. They could have used him.
Right.
I've never seen so many pitching injuries to one staff in my life, a starting staff. But at least Yamamoto came back, and they got Flaherty, who's pitched well. And with those two, 1-2, if they're healthy and they're on their game, that might be enough with the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
Because
Hey,
next Saturday,
I gotta hear Paulie's voice for a second.
Oh
Not
God!
to cut you off. What was your best baseball memory along the lines that we've been talking about?
Well, okay, so you guys are hooked. You guys are fans. You guys are real baseball fans. I'm a baseball fan too, and I've always been a Bay Area baseball fan. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been getting more melancholy because of the A's leaving.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't even leave. I can't even drive from the studio out to the valley without seeing one of those digital billboards that say like we're gonna miss you, Oakland, and shit like that. And I want to pull over on the side of the road and start crying. So it probably my favorite memories are, and I was so young. I was born in 67. What did they do? Their sweep was what, 72, 73, 74, or whatever it was one of those years. And I remember going to a lot of the games because my grandfather owned a business. I think he must have had season tickets, and the only ones that went were like me, my brother, and my mom. And I remember going with different people to multiple games. And then I remember it being really exciting because they were going to go to the World Series. And so I don't.
Serious, as my grandmother used to say.
Yeah, and
the World Series.
The World Series.
But do you remember that accent, that dialect from when we were born? A lot of people talk that way. They won, they lost. Mickey Mantle hit a home run. But go ahead.
No, but that's that's Yiddish. It sounds like Mel Brooks when he does it.
Oh, that's a compliment to me.
There you go. So, probably those years. Also, I remember being at the Bay to Bridge game at Candlestick when we had the earthquake. So I remember that, and I remember thinking, oh, that was kind of cool. We had just experienced a earthquake, and it was a game, and I was underneath the underhang.
Oh, you were at that game?
I was at that game, and it was kind of weird because we didn't know how severe it was. Everybody in the park was like, okay, that was a jolt. That felt kind of crazy. And of course, if you ever were in the stick, if you were on the lower deck and you had the overhang, that's just this big old massive sheet of concrete over you. And as a little kid, you're already kind of like taken away by, wow, this place is huge. But, when it's an earthquake and stuff's happening, you're like, wow, okay, that was kind of crazy. And then I remember us going home and hearing about it. And so
I was sitting on my back porch in Oakland, California, listening to the game, listening to the proceeding, and the thing rocks. And I looked across, there was a neighbor, and he and I made eye contact, and we both had looks on our faces, because we talked about it later, that was like, we're in shock. Like, the freeway near us had collapsed.
Right.
And they're getting, it was unbelievable.
That must have been crazy, yeah.
Right. And I had a fellow on, John Lewin-Kakis, had his video camera there, had him on a podcast, and he took a documentary of what was going on the field. Look for that. You might be pictured in that documentary. Baseball, my point was that whatever year it was, we could take a year and say, oh, that was the year the Giants won the World Series. It was 54, by the way. And there was a long wait between Giant championships till now. Great rivalry, though, in the 60s. Sandy Koufax, Willie Mays. What can you say?
Those were great games every Saturday on the NBC Saturday baseball game of the week. Whenever they were playing each other out there on the West Coast, it was always on at 4 o'clock. You couldn't wait to see it.
Absolutely.
Koufax going against McCovey and Mays and all those guys. And
how the Giants didn't win more pennants in those days amazes me. But I could answer my own question. The pitching that the Dodgers had at that time, Koufax himself says it all about greatness and dominance. Has there ever been anybody in sport other than Jimmy Brown and Bill Russell to dominate that way?
For those 5 years, 6, 7 years,
right.
Maybe not. Not. That was incredible. But we've seen some great stuff. I mean, Michael Jordan had about a 6-year, 7-year span. He was pretty much untouchable. There's been other guys, I suppose, but Koufax and Drysdale won 2 after, and that was tough. How in the hell did the Giants win that playoff from them in 1962? I'll never know.
Oh
But
yeah, I mean,
because I can't remember.
can remember dancing around and
I'll
going,
bet you did.
unbelievable. I remember Dick Trzaskowski was part of it. He either made an error or not. Yeah, that was something.
Because you saw the next year, what was
63,
really
absolutely.
when the Dodgers ran away with everything and swept the Yankees 4 straight, and Koufax struck out 15, which was then a World Series record. I mean, it was just incredible. And yet that year before it was the same team pretty much,
Yeah,
but they ended up tied, and the Giants took them out in a 2 out of 3.
yeah. Thinking back to those Dodgers, Jim Gilliam played such a big role for
Oh,
so long. Brooklyn Dodgers too, and then
sure,
came over. He was absolutely terrific.
he was.
I take my hat off to him.
But what's some of the best game memories of games you went to that you can think of?
The day that the Giants played and Joe Youngblood scored or something, and I was wearing a starter Met jacket. This was in San Francisco. They didn't even name it starter yet. I got this jacket that would have been identical, quilt jacket, a Met jacket. No one had a jacket like that. And I'm right behind the third base dugout, and here comes Youngblood after he scored, and he sticks his. I'm such a narcissist that it's a good game to me because he just points to that jacket, and I put my hand up like I got and he put his hand up. He had scored a run and done something great, and he acknowledged my jacket, and I acknowledged the greatness of his moment at the
That's
same
great.
time.
See that?
That's one of them.
Mert and I were at the game where Seaver struck out 19, and what I believe is still a record 10 in a row in the National League or baseball altogether against the Padres. It was an incredible game, and Seaver struck out what was then a record of 19 batters in a game, and he struck out the last 10. And we were sitting upstairs, and when the ball would hit the catcher's glove, it was so loud. It was like boom, boom, and he could. I don't know how many more he could have struck out. The game ended. He struck out the last 10 in a row for 19, and you have to wonder how many more he would have gotten. It was so incredible, and the game was only 2-1. They won 2-1.
But you mentioned the game that you and Mert went
Mert
to.
were at, yeah.
I went to a game with Mert in 1962, and Hobie Landreth against the Braves hits a home run off Warren Spahn. It was Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and I had to leave the game, and the Mets won the second game in Gil Hodges hit a home run off someone, but I didn't get to see that. Had a guest on, and he's fast becoming a favorite of mine. Lenny, what was Lenny?
Schechter?
No, that was Larry.
Larry, thank you. Lenny.
His name blanks. He did a great show with us, and he at that same doubleheader missed the first home run, came late, and caught he missed Hobie Landreth off Spahn. I missed the second one, and he caught the second home run with Gil Hodges, and so that was kind of a whoa.
Sure.
We both must have crossed, one guy coming in and one guy going out. So that was to see Hobie Landreth hit a home run off Warren Spahn.
Oh, that had to be great.
That was great. And so many basketball games that Mert and I went to, because
Oh yeah,
your uncle supplied great seats for an incredible amount of NBA. We go
Rangers,
back to
hockey and
58
basketball.
to
Knicks and Rangers. We had great seats.
yes.
Absolutely.
So God rest his soul. If this,
Yeah. I was at the Chris Chambliss game when the Yankees had not been in the World Series for 12 years, from 64 to 76. And it was game 5. It only used to go 5 games, the ALCS back then.
And the guy who wrote the foreword for my book, and my guest 100 times on Comfortably Zoned, Mark Littell gave up that home run. And the one thing I can remember about Mark, the late Mark Littell, it's like life. He didn't let that be the defining moment of his life. He went on to be an incredible guru, an amateur guru to pitchers. He was a great pitching coach in the minors, and he invented what he called the Nutty Buddy, which is a protector of
your buddies, your buddies, your little nutty buddies.
And he had that marketed, and made quite a bit of money on that, and never. I mean, he was down for a while. You give up that home run. He wasn't a happy guy.
No, but that was one hell of a home run.
Right. And to come back, we all have, if we can, come back. Not, anyway, just.
It was the bottom of the 9th in the deciding game. The Yankees need a win to get back to the World Series.
You were there with Mert?
No, I was there with some friends. We were sitting right behind the dugout. First row behind the dugout.
Oh wow!
They knew guys in the ticket office, because this was like in '76, and anyway, the place went crazy. Yankee Stadium went crazy. They lost that series, but then they won the next 2 off the Dodgers, unfortunately. But that was an incredible scene, just for games that you were at. I only went to Dodger Stadium once in my life. And I saw Seaver shut them out 6-0.
Hey,
That's not what I went for, but Mert enjoyed it. That was on our cross-country trip. We saw you.
Oh.
We saw you in Sacramento.
Ah, that was nice.
You remember that? That was
seeing
71.
You guys in California. It's like a just position. We're out of the Northridge element, where the apartments are only view, whatever it is. We were locked into that growing up, and then to see wherever I was in California. California is terrific in terms of view, as is Florida and stuff. You have some great pictures that you've taken and put on Facebook over the years.
Yeah, I don't do it so much anymore, but yeah, it was. It's very picturesque.
Yeah.
Obviously, California is probably more so, but Florida, you got one look. You go around the whole state, but California
that's
got a whole
true
lot
too. But you also have a political point of view that could be changing. I hear that Florida is up for grabs in this election.
I hope, but I'll believe it when I see it.
I think Florida is strong for DeSantis, and good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
May the force be with you, or whatever you take.
But
yikes! Yeah,
they're going to come out with some more things on Trump, and
that's going to do something.
That
I'm
down.
sorry.
No, you don't think that?
No, I'm getting to the point of where I actually heard somebody kind of turn the other day. I heard Bill Maher turn the other day, and he goes, "Oh, I think we actually got him now. We got him." And he mentioned a couple things, but the one thing he thinks was the beginning of the end was the
25.
we're eating pets in Pennsylvania or whatever in Springfield.
And the look on her, the look on her face
absurd.
Was she just handled it like he was a 6-year-old. She was the mother, and the kid just crapped or something or said something to a neighbor. And
just said the F-bomb to the pastor.
Right.
And no, I get it. And so, it
made him look like a total asshole.
So the point was that I was like, okay, yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty, and then he's done some other things since then that have made him look even more out of touch and senile.
He tops himself, or shall I say, bottoms himself every day.
Oh, yeah.
And the more desperate he gets, we could look for that type of craziness. We just have to keep his finger off the nuclear button.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to save democracy. We've been talking about.
Well, and then there was that other attempt on his life. And so I was saying early on in 2016, if he ends up getting elected, that we were going to see that. And the more stuff he did, the more crazy he got, the more everybody just got acclimated. What do they say about trying to boil like a lobster or a frog or something? If you put them in the water and it's warm and you bring it up slowly, kind of thing. And so that's kind of what I felt like, is that they didn't boil us on high. They just let us start and simmer, and after a while we all got acclimated to the water. And we were like, yeah.
Hey guys, go back and listen to the Woodward interview, and it goes.
The book, the author,
right?
Robert Woodward or whatever.
All the President's Name.
All the President's Men. Yeah, he did that, but he also just did the book on Trump a few years ago, right. And he talks about how
go back to those interviews and why people didn't see it. If for no other reason, just
it doesn't even matter. These people won't believe anything they hear. They won't even believe their own eyes when they see it. I don't really get what's going on with that almost half of the population that just seems to be oblivious to whatever insanity is going on in that man's head.
Stirring up the pot, right? Because
they like it. They
okay,
like
so
insanity, which makes no sense.
Every 4 to 8 years, half this country gets disenfranchised and says we got to do something, and it has to be totally different than what we've been doing. And it doesn't matter if you're the left or the right. If you wait 10 years, you'll be saying it. You'll be like, I'm fed up with this shit. I don't care. And so that's what they did with Trump, and they do see movement with him, but it's all crazy.
There are some that have finally have seen the light.
Right.
Hopefully enough, and hopefully enough women, want to stand up for themselves. Maybe that's a bad way to put it.
Marginalized women, I don't know how they're sticking by them.
But
there's
got to be a huge female turnout because of Roe v. Wade to have this guy not even be close in the election.
And what I hear actually might make some of the difference, which I'm kind of laughing, is the Taylor Swift thing.
Yeah.
The Taylor Swift thing. They said they got over 400,000 new voters in a day or something.
right?
Right.
She's got a lot of pull. You know what gets me the most? Mexican men, not women so much, but Mexican men are said to sympathize with Trump.
Yeah. So some of these marginalized groups, I don't
I don't know.
understand. They're totally the opposite of what they're saying. It's like he just had somebody at the Republican National Convention that was like I think they were transgender or they were something, and I was like, wow, don't they got up and spoke and supported Trump, and I was like, don't you remember what he was saying about trans in the military? And it's like, wow, you guys have some really short term like memory loss. It's like I'm the one that smokes pot around here. Leave that to me, please.
Right.
But holy smokes. Yeah, I don't know. So I have some hope that no matter what, on election night, it's going to be close. Just go to bed. Don't wait up. Okay. I suggest you go to bed whenever you feel comfortable. You wake up and the dust will settle and Kamala will win. But it's going to be flipping close. And
I don't think it'll be that close.
You don't think it will be?
No.
It'll be great if it's a
maybe
landslide.
I have
but
more
I don't think.
faith, less faith in, or more faith in the American people to think that it won't be a landslide.
Well, Bernie said it too, that he's even starting to leave a bad taste in Republicans' mouth. Because they're all starting to hedge their bets and go, fuck this, I'm not going with that.
In Floridian's mouth, right, Brian?
Well, there are some. I hope there's enough. But you know, the main concern, I guess, is some of these states with, like Georgia, where they put in laws that actually allow them to change the election. I don't see how in the end that can be legal. It makes no sense to me.
And the
all they want is
chaos.
so they can get it to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
But if it's a landslide, it won't matter. Like Georgia won't mean SHIT if it's a landslide. One or two states hopefully won't even matter. But I'm afraid of the swing states, you know.
Unfortunately, it's the system. You got to get the right states and win the right states.
Well, that's it. You got to win the swing states, just like Biden did, you know, and she's got to do the same thing. There's got to be enough turnout.
Well, that's why she picked Walz, part of the reason, right? Because wasn't he from a swing?
Minnesota? That's usually blue.
That's true. Oh, today she was looking at the guy from North Carolina. That was the swing.
I think there's a great chance they're going to get North Carolina,
right?
Because of that moron they're running for governor, among other reasons. I think there's a great chance they get North Carolina, and if they do, that could be big.
Yeah. And it becomes big all the way through the administration too. It's not just the election.
Oh, I want the coattail. They gotta keep the Senate. There's a ton of Senate seats up, and there's no guarantees on some of those seats. So they have to keep the Senate. And really, it'd be nice to get a clean sweep, because then we can actually do some good things in this country. With the House and the Senate and the White House all blue, because otherwise, you know, there's too many weirdos in the freaking House on the Republican side. What a Senate too.
Well, that's one thing is that he's totally stacked the deck. So we got to give, I guess, credit where credit is due when it comes to Trump. So he stacked the deck when he's come to the House and Senate. He's done the same with the justices in the Supreme Court.
Between him and McConnell, he got the court.
And even just, he does certain things.
The Supreme Court, the way they are, the way Long Thomas is, and Alito or whatever his name is, Alito. Absolutely disgraceful. That
Those guys, it's insane. They should be brought up on charges. They should be,
The
you
man's
know,
wife,
yeah,
Thomas, contributed to
The September or January 6th.
January 6th in an active way, and
absolutely. And he doesn't recuse himself from these cases. And
unbelievable.
He's on the tape. They're both so on the tape.
Oh,
so
and it's
corrupt.
all over the news.
It's unbelievable.
It's all over the news. I just saw
be
something.
Impeached.
How much money and how many trips and all these things, and it's like it's public knowledge
at this point.
At this point,
yeah.
So they should not have life terms. They should be voted in and voted out by the people.
But how do you change the law that governs the Supreme Court?
I think it's constitutional, isn't it? You need a lot. You need a lot. And then you need all the states too, if that's the case. I'm not 100% sure on that. But,
yeah, I don't think it can happen. It's not like it can happen, but
that's why you need to sweep the three branches of government. You need to sweep, and you need to take over the. Then you can change the Supreme Court. If you get the House, the Senate, and the White House, then you can make changes to the court. You could certainly impeach Thomas and Alito because they should be impeached.
Right.
They should be kicked off the freaking court, and that's the end of it.
Is that how they get taken off the court, is impeachment?
Well, I don't think there's another way.
I don't know if that's the process. I didn't know if that was the process.
If they were criminally indicted.
Right.
But I don't know that gets them kicked off the court. Impeachment would be the only way.
Well, isn't it a crime to accept money? You were talking about it, Paul, how much money they've accepted that for favors. Is that not a crime itself?
Yeah, and even the stuff they were doing, like you were talking about Clarence Thomas, so he has this crazy tour bus that looks like he's Neil Young, and he's got this crazy tour bus. It's called a coach. It's literally a tour bus, and so apparently something about it was a loan from a friend, bought it for him and loaned him the money, and then he was supposed to pay it back, but he never paid it back, so the guy ended up giving it to him. And it was worth, I forget how much, but they have that and they show it and they know exactly when it was. And it was also someone that he became friends with after he became a justice, and he has some sort of, he's lobbying for whatever his business is and whatever his company and stuff is. And so it's horrible. Like I said, it's been on it's not like just one news outlet has come out and said, oh, there might be some shady shit and they're investigating. I've seen like literally like 60 Minutes and this and that. And it's reputable people that have been like bringing them through the coals. Even that guy, John Oliver from Last Week Tonight on HBO tried to buy him off like a month ago and said, hey, I've bought you this motor coach, this tour bus. I'll give you that. Plus, I'll give you like $1 million a year for the rest of your life or something if you just quit. Oh, yeah. And he wouldn't quit. And so it was funny because he actually used HBO's money because it's an HBO show. So he used it as part of his budget. And part of his, I guess the $1 million a year was going to come from him.
Yeah, but the threat of jail will always preclude him quitting.
The threat of jail? Oh, you mean if he quits? If he quits, then he's up for indictment?
Absolutely.
You mean they're not going to indict a sitting justice? I think it's more that they would indict a sitting justice. I didn't know if the procedure is impeachment, like Bernie said. I figured they actually had to catch him, have enough on him, and indict him. But I figured we never have enough on him because if we don't have enough on Clarence Thomas right now, based on all the stuff I've seen in the mainstream media, we're never going to have enough.
Yeah. Hey, can you imagine Anita Thomas? Anita, what was her last name? Oh,
Which one? Who are we talking about?
initially with Thomas, what was the woman's name?
Oh, his wife. Oh no, you're talking about back in the day when he was actually getting put on there. What was
Yeah.
her name? Oh yeah, no. Now you got me. But it's the lady where he sexually
Yeah.
made advances towards her, and it was like
Do
his
you know
secretary.
who wouldn't pursue that and was Joseph Biden?
That's funny.
He would. He was on the committee, headed the committee to bring all that stuff to light.
Biden had a couple not very good things in his past, including
like
the busing thing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. He's grown. He's grown and he's learned, and he's either gotten with the times and realized it's not
Anita
cool.
Hill.
Anita Hill. Thank you.
My brain kicked in.
There you go.
Anyway.
But yeah, but I mean,
but her brain still works, huh, Ralph?
Occasionally, I don't like to use the word work, but it plays.
It plays once in a while.
It plays once in a while. I'm such a hedonist bastard, huh, Bern?
Well, I don't know.
Did you have a good time today? Because you did last time.
What's that now?
Did you have a good time with us today, hanging out with us?
Oh, absolutely.
Beautiful. Then keep coming back, please.
Yeah, let's see the Mets do well. You know, I'd love to see the Mets do it for Mert, for you.
No, for Mert.
If the Dodgers can't do it, I always root for the Mets. But you know, this is kind of special. The Mets to bring it home would be something.
Oh, it would be very nice. Given like we started at the beginning, given the first month of the season, it's a miracle.
Yeah, they've come on strong. You know, they ended up what 20 plus games over 500 or something.
And you know what I liked in that first game? They stuck with Diaz. They were going to take him out.
That shocked me. Yeah.
Right. And they got his motor running a little bit with that.
He didn't want to come out. He was like, no. You know, it took guts, but I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he got through it.
Yeah.
You know?
It was a great game on many levels.
Oh,
and
please.
You're a great guy on many levels, Spawn.
Well,
so,
we're all there. I love the shirt. Okay. Go Mets 5:30 today, baby.
There you go.
That's the start of it, but this game will be anticlimactic, win, lose, or draw, given what we saw yesterday.
Well, yeah.
But
you know, you lose today, there's still tomorrow. But this is just 2 out of 3.
Right.
You don't want to lose today.
No, you don't want to lose today. But you didn't want to lose yesterday. That's for damn sure.
Oh, that's for sure.
All right.
Well, listen. Great show. Good being with you.
Good nice being with you. And any final word on your part anything you want to get in? Because podcast is selfless self-promotion.
Oh yeah, it's all about the shameless plugs.
Shameless
or shout outs or
anything you want to say, Bon.
No, I'm not. I have no more shows. I'm kind of retired. I've got 1 or 2 coming up, but
tell people especially that you have 1 or 2 left. Where are they and when are they?
Well, it's the 3rd Saturday. So the 3rd Saturday of October and November at the Two Drunken Goats on Singer Island in Florida, Riviera Beach, with the Eric Clapton tribute band. The other band is No More. We broke that one up. And, you know, I'm really not playing anymore so much. You know, I've been having some problems with my hands, with trigger finger, and other issues. So I'm kind of like getting away from that. So I would just like to say, go Mets from my brother Mert. I know he wants that, and I'd love to see it for him. You know,
Yeah, we are. We'll
and
be
for you
rooting
guys.
tonight at 5:30
Eastern time. Yeah.
Eastern time. On some levels, what do you call it? The right coast.
The right coast and the left coast.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So coming to you from the right coast, Bernie. Give it up for Bernie again.
Bernie Rose, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen.
you, Bernie. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bernie, you
Thank
have
you.
that rose modesty that shows through. When you were talking about, I mean, you guys played some great music. So it's
Appreciate it.
yeah, you're one modest motherfucker.
We just
Well,
lost Peoria again.
I had a good time with the Swamp Cats and the Clapton tribute band Forever Eric the last few years, and some other bands before that. But I appreciate that, and we'll do another show. You just let me know.
And don't think I don't remember your first garage band quote with
The
with
Rompers Room Band. Yeah,
right with Warren Foreman.
yeah, yeah.
Here's to you, Lil. Rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Okay. Be well, my friend.
You too. Thanks.
Love you, Bon.
All right. Bernie Rose, everybody. All right. We are back here live. How did it feel? Feel good?
Felt great.
Felt great. We want to give a short shout out to your car guy. Is he taking care of you?
He's the peace of mind of knowing he's there. He doesn't have to be taking care of me. And the whole point in having this guy as a sponsor that makes me feel good is that the peace of mind that came from me knowing that what if anything, there's always that reason to relax. And when you own a vehicle, it's very important to have that. Unless you have one of these extended warranties, which you're always fighting that. What they accept, what they won't accept. This guy, Dennis, will first diagnose your car, look at your circumstances, and tell you what it's going to take. And he put his arm on my shoulder and said, it's going to be all right. I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is all about. Having him as a sponsor, people can feel good and not worry, because people worry about their vehicles more than their children.
Right.
At times.
Absolutely.
And I'm delighted to have his acquaintance. I'm delighted to be able to recommend him to my friends and RDI. And it's just a pleasure. So call him before you have problems. Let him get to know who you are. Let him tell you about what's going on. And Paulie, speak to it.
All right, there you go. It's D1 Mobile Auto Service. That's right, D1 Mobile Auto Service. You can get a hold of Dennis and his crew at 510-978-7064. That's right, 510-978-7064. And you can check them out on the web too at D-1mobileautoservice.com. They do everything from engine assembly, transmissions, clutches, suspensions, diagnostics, you name it. And they're mobile, folks. So again, check out Dennis and his crew at D1 Mobile Auto Service.
Paulie, you're a professional. I've got Paulie B in studio as an engineer. This is how my mother would
Is
have
that how she
talked.
would have talked to you?
And she would have said, "That's not bad. You've come a long way in podcasting. This is definitely a video podcast is an upgrade. So if you guys are out there and want to do something to put the word out, whatever your word is, in a professional way, Paulie B, get in touch with Paulie B.
That's right. Everything in Edge Studios here. You can check us out at edgestudiosonline.com, or you can send us email at edgestudiosonline@gmail.com. And you can contact us at 650-503-3435, and we can help you make your dream a reality. Thanks for hanging.
My pleasure.
All right. You know what time it is?
Believe me, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, bud. Love ya. We'll see you guys next week in the zone. Until then, go Mets, y'all Mets.
Go us. How about that?
How about that?
If the Mets win, that's great. That's great. But let's be. And for Marty Rose, this means a lot. So go Mets. Then we'll go us. Then we'll go Mets. Then we'll go us. It'll be great either way.
There you go. We'll see you guys next week in the zone. Until then, get comfortable.